Hello, in this tutorial we're going to give an introduction to the Mono IDE. And to begin with, I just want to talk about what it's going to look like when you open it. You'll see this welcome window, and you can see that you can either open an existing solution, which you might want to do if you had already started a project, or you can start a new solution. There's also some interesting links here to help you out with documentation. And to begin with, we're just going to start a new solution. And a solution consists of multiple projects, and as you can see here in Mono, depending upon the version or installation that you've got, there are a couple of different programming languages that you can use. For our part in this course, we're going to focus on C#, and we're going to begin with a console project. So this will give us our default. You'll also notice that the location of where this project is going to be placed is in the users, in this case John Preston for the username, and then in the projects folder. And I'm going to give this solution a name. I'm going to call it 1301.01, and that's going to be the solution name. We're going to create a project based on that, and make sure that you've got this create directory or solution checkbox here. So you can see where it's going to place this file. Make sure you always know where your projects in your code is going to go. And then again, console C#. So let's click OK. And it's going to do its magic and create a default project for us here. You can see that our solution consists of a single project, and already it contains two CS or C# files. Main.cs is going to be where our source code is going to be. And you can ignore the details of this for now, but all of the code that we want to run should go inside of this public static void main. So the console write line, hello world, is going to put the string hello world to the screen. And we can verify that just by coming up here under run and start with or without debugging. Shouldn't really matter here. Let's go ahead and do debugging. And it's going to run this, and you'll see in my terminal window we've got hello world displayed. So we'll just hit press a key to log out. Close this down, and if we modify this, you've got the code complete. So if you just start typing, it'll guess what you want, whatever matches, and you can just hit tab to finish that off. You can also see the documentation. There are 19 different versions of the write line function, and if you just press up and down, it'll show you all the different versions of that. So I'm going to say welcome to CSE 1301. And finish that off. Remember, each command ends with a semicolon. If you leave that off, it's going to show that we have an error in our code and mark that as a problem. You'll also notice that whatever is highlighted here in yellow is showing what's been modified since we last ran. So if we come under and say start with debugging again, then you'll see that the output is hello world, welcome to CSE 1301. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the Mono development environment, how to create a very simple application and make sure that it's running properly. And we can change and double click on the files here, and they're going to be opening up in these tabs. We can shut those down and just focus on what we care about. Also, it's interesting to note that if you are inside of a particular file, you want to save it or change where it's going, you can do that. But for our part, looking at the File Explorer, under my Home, Projects, here's our solution. And inside of that solution, we've got a project, and then inside of that project, we have our source code. So we've got a one-to-one mapping between the file system and what we're looking at here in our Solution Explorer. Now let's say we wanted to create a second project inside of an existing solution. I can just come into the solution, do a right-click here, and click Add, New Project. Let's create another C# console, and I'll call this one Project 2. And now I've got two different projects inside of the same solution. And if we look at our File Explorer, now I've got inside of the projects 1301.01, I've got the 1301.01 project that I originally had, and now I've also got this second project. Now I've got two different mains. So if I were to open this up, notice that the code here for this project 02 is different from the main for project the 1301.01. So make sure you always know which one you're editing and close them down if you're not. Another thing you might want to notice is if I run this right now and start debugging, then we're going to get our original project. So this is that main that was running here. If I wanted this project to run, I can just right click on it and select the Set as Startup Project, and you'll notice that it is bolded now, right? So project 2 is bold instead of this 130101. And if we run, then now we start debugging, then we're going to be running the Hello World for this project 02. Okay, and that'll do it for this tutorial on how to set up Mono and get going in that development environment.